couple years ago, there was a young guy, that came into the mall through some doors down there, and he went off on a shooting rampage. He was from Bosnia, and apparently he was just really angry with the world. He was used to seeing people shot in his own country, and when he came here, he hung out in this mall when he was a kid all the time and played, but something snapped in him and he went off on a shooting rampage when he came into this mall and killed a bunch of people. And I didn't know about that until I did a search on the internet for Trolley Square, and when you do a search for Trolley Square, that's when I found the information that popped up about the shooting. And what you're seeing right here, this store here, is where a lot of people were killed. The shooter went inside and killed a bunch of people. It used to be a card store, but they moved out. Yeah, and now it's something else. But I'm not trying to glamorize this or anything. I'm just trying to put a picture on this. It's right next to Cabin Fever and the escalators right here downstairs next to Pottery Barn. I'm in Silk Road Treasures in Salt Lake City, Utah, and she's going to explain what they have in the store. What's your name?
Susan Burrell, and we have a lot of antique things from Tibet, India, and Africa. And it really started with trade beads that are from the 16, 17, 1800 trade period. And then I got involved more in older and older ones till there's some that are 1,000 years old or more. These are all at least 1,000 years old.
Jeez.
And this is Roman glass that's 2,000 years old. And
are you kidding?
And a lot of the beads that we string have old antique pieces in them somewhere. And then we also collect a lot of Tibetan pieces from the late 1800s, early 1900s. And then a very large collection of African antiques such as masks and the totem beadwork and all kinds of fabrics and like the kuba cloth and Mali.
The kuba cloth is
these patterned cloths that are made out of palm fiber.
Oh.
And they were made in the 1800s and earlier. They started making them in the Congo area.
Wow.
As early as the 1400s.
That's so cool.
And then a lot of the pieces are old fetishes and medicine. You know, a lot of the things that were made were for ritual, really.
Right.
And so that's like, medicine.
The blanket back there?
Well, this...
No, the curtain.
That's
not what you were referring to.
No, I was referring to this piece. This is a medicine container where they would make the medicines and fetishes that were prayer fetishes, and then the cloth there. That's it from Zimbabwe.
Oh, okay.
And that was made in the 1600s, and that's a dye resist. Then we have Mali fabrics and fabrics from
right there in front of the window.
The white fabric is fabric from Mali. This robe is from Nigeria. It's a ceremonial robe from Nigeria.
That's a robe?
Uh-huh. A person would wear it that was doing the ritual, the celebration, and they would wear that plus a helmet that would be part of the ritual that was being performed at that time.
Huh.
And then we also get a lot of fabrics from Tibetan and Indian women, and a lot of the beaded work are like from the Yoruba tribes, this little piece here with the that's taking the chief to the doctor, the medicine doctor.
Okay.
And many of these things are all totally beaded, and they're all done by those the Yoruban tribe.
This here is really interesting. The head with the beads down the back.
Yeah, that's a Benin bronze, which is a very famous. The Benin bronzes were very famous and still are. It was done very early. And then the veil was made by the Yoruban tribe. Again, that's the one that is so involved in beading. And they did that would be a wedding veil.
Oh, so
They're
women wore this when
yes,
they were getting married.
Right, and it would be really worn in front of her face rather than in the back.
Oh, okay.
But that's, and then we just put it on the Benin sculpture, which is a very special. This was a very well-known and famous Benin art form. And then we work with about 5 different women's collectives that in South Africa, Uganda, and Kenya that have started as small businesses and have been able to create big, successful businesses from, their small beginnings, and they're actually supporting whole villages now.
So this side of the store is
it's
new stuff. It's not.
Yes, these are all new. This section, and there are new ones other places too. But the real emphasis is on antique things. That's our
right,
or things that incorporate old ones or have some meaning. Some traditional meaning that we kind of try to maintain. Cultures that are passing.
Right, that's so important.
Like a lot.
And this piece here, right there.
This is Indian, and this is an antique one. And
How old is it?
How old is it?
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's probably let's see, maybe 1700s.
Wow.
And it would be over the door in to a prayer. A lot of times it would have a little room for prayer, and that would be over the doorway leading into the prayer room, or if they had a small altar in their home, they'd have this above the altar.
Huh. Okay. What about these, beads here?
Those are totems. They're by the Yoruban tribe, and they would be hung in their homes, and that's Africa. And they represent the animals that are sacred to them, and also the ancestors. The faces represent their ancestors, which they revere their ancestors.
Right.
And it's amazing how much they look like our Northwest Native Americans.
Yeah.
A lot of the techniques seem to cross over, even though they didn't know each other at that point.
Yeah. It's really interesting. So, okay. Well, thanks for explaining that to me.
Well, sure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a nice visit while you're here.
Oh, I will.
Okay. Thanks.